Hey guys, how are you doing? So, I know most of you are wondering what's happening with Cytonn. So many people do ask me, hey Ken, what's happening with Cytonn? I've done a video on this before, but I want to do an updated video because there has been, a lot of speculation and people talking about Cytonn and what's happening and, what could be going on and is my money safe? Because there are still people who are invested in Cytonn, by the way. Anyways, I just noticed that I really like yellow. Like, I always have yellow somewhere. You see guys? Yellow. Bright. My personality. Bright personality. Yeah? Bright personality. Anyways, guys, so what's happening with Cytonn and are you safe in Cytonn? Now, this is one of the main questions that most people keep asking me. And today I'm here to tell you what's happening with Cytonn and what you should do if you're in Cytonn and if you should run away or you should stay or if you should start investing with Cytonn if you're thinking about it, right? So Cytonn. I think the only thing we hear about Cytonn is usually negative stuff. Like it's always drama, something happening, a lot of issues with the company as a whole. But most people don't understand what's happening with Cytonn because they actually don't take their time to understand what's happening with the company or what's happening in the, in the investment arena or environment in Kenya. So I'm here to give you that information because you don't have to go looking for it. I've done the work for you and all you need to do is subscribe, like, and share this video. Do that now. Waiting. Let's go. Cool. Now that you've liked the video and subscribed, this is what's been happening with Cytonn. We've had a lot of money being speculated around, right? 14 billion lost. Investors are crying. The other day, Edwin Dande, who is the CEO of Cytonn, was in court and everyone was spitting on him and calling him to come out so that they can beat him and police were protecting him. Just too much drama, right? And trust you me, if there's one thing you don't want if you are a money manager, is drama. You don't want to have such drama around you or integrity issues, which sometimes happen, and that's the risk of it, right? Because if you are an investor, if you are someone who manages billions and billions of money, chances are at some point you're going to have some drama. Chances are at some point investments won't work as you expect them to work. Chances are at some point business will not do as you expect it to do. And that's what's happening again in this scenario. And these are things we need to consider as investors, that these things sometimes go wrong. Now, I'm not protecting Cytonn by any means. I don't even know the guy. I'm not paid. I'm not partnering with them. Okay, I know the guy, but I've just met him like once when I was in Finland. So I don't know him like personally, like, like tight, right? Anyways, I'm not protecting them. And I believe they did a mistake. They did make a mistake. And I'll tell you why. The issue we're having with Cytonn is that Cytonn is a big company. Ni kama nyumba kubwa, ni kama supermarket, right? So when you register a company, you're asking, okay, is it regulated? Cytonn is regulated as a company, right? Obviously, for you to register in Kenya, you pay KRA, you pay registration, you pay all these legal requirements, and you meet those standards required, then you are registered. So Cytonn as a company is regulated. Now, that's the supermarket, right? So the company, the main company, which is the Cytonn Investments, I think it's Cytonn Investments Limited, is the housing company. Now, you need to understand structure of companies, right? Because you can find a single company that owns loads and loads and loads of companies. Nowadays, people form trusts, and within the trust, you find an LLP. Within the LLP, you find another LLP. So there's like a hierarchy and a structure in a way people try to manage their money, manage their resources, manage their investments, and this is like all over. It's not just with Cytonn ND. So like I said, Cytonn is this massive supermarket, assume so, right? And within that supermarket, we have like loads of products. And so within these products, this is now where your investment come in, right? So this is where we have the money market fund, which most of you are a fan of because they're giving like the best interest rates right now. And I'm a fan of because I've been invested for a very long time and I've always earned my money. Then, of course, within that supermarket, there are other products as well. One of the products that they did come up with is actually Cytonn High Yield Solutions. Cytonn High Yield Solutions. And there's one called Cytonn Real Estate Project Notes. Okay, CHYS and CPN. Now, the Cytonn High Yield Solutions was giving very good interests. And like I mentioned, it's a different product within the supermarket. Now, this is the interesting part and the part that most people don't understand. Within the supermarket, each product needs to be regulated, should be regulated, I would say so. But Cytonn found a loophole, and as companies always do, you don't have to regulate all products. There are certain products that you can have within that supermarket that don't have to be regulated, as long as you make that information public. Now, the thing is, most people did not read the fact sheet. Like I always say, you must read the fact sheet. Most people did not read the fact sheet to find out if this particular product that was giving very good interest rates was regulated. Now, most of you, when you see high interest rates, you run into the product, you buy it, you're seeing 18%. Okay, now 18% is normal, right? At that time, 18% in real estate was quite high. And anyone who read that fact sheet and have looked at it more than once would know that there's a bit of a problem here. Because I always say you have to make sure your investor is making money, and you have to know how they're going to make that money and what kind of risks they're going to take. Now, if you agreed to the risks that were mentioned in the fact sheet, then you agreed to that investment. It's sad, it's brutal, but that's the honest truth. You agreed to the investment that Cytonn floated to you with an 18% return on your money, which was quite high at the time, especially in real estate. Now, as fate would have it, COVID came. And COVID obviously affected real estate projects, and they were just getting into that project. And the other mistake Cytonn made is that, number one, they didn't make it very clear that this was not regulated. I doubt they did so. Number two, they did take a lot of money. So, and when they took a lot of money, they did not preserve a lot of liquidity in that project. So I think they dumped in all the money in this project. So it got to a point in COVID duration when they couldn't actually complete the projects because they didn't have enough liquidity. They didn't have enough money to complete the project. So projects are stalled. People they are depending on to pay them some money. People bought some homes, and because they have some other shares in other properties in other estates, couldn't pay them back. So what happens if they can't pay back? Cytonn has no liquidity to complete the ongoing projects at that time, and investors have put in money. And remember, we're talking about over 4,000 people here. So 3,000 people, almost more than 3,000 people invested in the Cytonn High Yield Solutions Fund, which was giving 18%, and then most other people invested in the CPNs. So I think the high yield funds, high yield solution was like around 11 billion, and then the CPNs were like 4 billion. So we're talking about 14, 15 billion, whatever. Good money, like crazy money, right? That's crazy money. But these are loads of investors. So at a point where Cytonn could now not be able to pay back, what happens? They invoke a clause in that contract that says there are certain forces of nature that has impacted us, and therefore we're not able to pay you back as promised or in time, right? And that is allowed as well. The contract says that, when there's what we call a force majeure, it means there are unforeseen circumstances that are arising out of the environment, out of our control. We are able to invoke this clause and let you know. And then some people went to court and said, hey, we don't agree with the invocation of this particular clause, and what Cytonn should pay back our money. And it's just been court cases after court cases. So there's a time that the court said, you know what, Cytonn should liquidate the assets they have so that they can pay back the investors. Now that is difficult as well. And I will explain why that's difficult, because number one, these products were not completed yet. Nobody's going to buy them. There's a lot of negative publicity around it. And liquidation was just going to pay them a percentage of what they had invested, because they would not recover all the money put in that project. So there were so many issues with the liquidation. Now, Cytonn says, we don't want to liquidate. The best way is for the court to say that we complete the project so that everyone is paid as much as possible. Now, the investors are already fearful. There's lots of public negative publicity and lots of issues around it. So what happens? It's been just court cases after court cases, and now investors are really irate and angry and trying to just lynch Edwin. Now, is the money market fund safe? Yes, the money market fund is safe. The money market fund is safe. It's giving one of the best returns. I have been invested in it for a very long time. I've never had an issue with it. But what I say is this. Number one, I always say this clearly on my videos, put money where you feel peaceful at. So your money shouldn't be in a place whereby you'll sleep at night and you're thinking, will you have it tomorrow? So if you feel peaceful in Cytonn, put your money there. But if you don't, there are hundreds of money market funds in Kenya that you could put your money into. The second thing is this. Put what you are willing to lose. Now, this is the thing with investing. Anywhere I put some money, I'm willing to lose that money. So that's why I have diversified, so that I know very well, in case this particular portfolio or asset class is impacted in any way, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'll be fine. Okay? So not everything is in one basket. So if Cytonn were to go down today with my money, I will definitely be devastated, because it's a lot of money, right? But I won't really be like, oh, my life has ended. No, it's just part of investing. It's just part of the risk that we take. And I did a video recently on the risks that we take as investors when investing in money market funds, which we don't talk about as often as we should. But there are risks with investing in money market funds. It's not like a risk-free like 100%. There's no investment that's risk-free. There's no one who's going to give you a return of 18%, and there's nothing like risk on it. So be comfortable with the amount you're putting in there. So if you feel that there's an amount that you're not comfortable with, put it somewhere else. It can be a bank account, which I don't encourage for sure, because there are like so many other money market funds you could use. But yeah, put that money somewhere else where you could access it, and you're safe, you feel good about it, and you're confident that it's okay. That's the second thing. The other thing is you can diversify among money market funds. So you could put enough in Cytonn that you're comfortable with, and then diversify across different money market funds. No one limits you on how many you can. And remember, money is always accessible to you. At any point you feel that there's so much drama, and I do agree with you that when you're investing in a company and there's so much drama around it, it makes it difficult to trust the company as a whole. Because you never know what the court will say. You never know, one day they say, oh, you know what, this whole company just needs to be liquidated, which will be difficult to say, obviously, but you know what, you never know. You never know how things go. You never know how court cases go. You never know what happens to a company. It's a firm. It's a company. Anything can happen to it. And all the products in there can happen. It's just like a supermarket like Nakumat. Was it Nakumat that fell or something? And Chumi and all these other supermarkets, the big, massive supermarkets that just crumbled out of nowhere, right? You walk in there, you see products, you see people working, you see everything is going fine. You probably invested in their stocks. Next day, they're all under receivership. So it's just a good thing to always do to ensure that your money is actually somewhere you feel comfortable with, and diversify as much as possible. But yes, watch my video on money market fund risks. That's one, I did that last week. And then before you do that, and after you do that, watch this video. And if you're investing in Cytonn, don't worry about the money market fund. It's regulated by Capital Markets Authority. It's safe. It's good for now, right? But I understand people do not want drama. People do not want that negative publicity around someone who's managing their money. And one person always says, before you invest your money, make sure you understand how the company is managed, who is the manager behind the company, who is the face behind the company. And most of you would be saying, no, I don't want this drama. And that's fine as well. So feel free to always move from one money market fund to another. You are not loyal to anybody. You are loyal to your interest rates. You are loyal to your returns. You are loyal to your money. You're not loyal to anyone. Remember, they are charging you for putting that money. It's not like they're doing you a favor. So if you feel they're not doing you a service or a good service in terms of their publicity or whatever issues they have, then feel free to move to a different company. So I've given you the problem. I've given you the solution. I've given you the way forward. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please share this video as much as possible. Until next time, I'm out.